of the key elements of the success formula is to have a positive mental attitude. Today we're going to chunk it down just a little bit and focus on the attitude of gratitude. Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, we lead, and we inspire. And today we're going to focus on the latter, a little inspiration today. And one of the key things that makes a person successful is having a positive mental attitude. And a big part of having a positive mental attitude is that you give yourself time every day to focus on things that you're grateful for. Sometimes ubiquitous things like electricity or orange juice or the fact that you're above ground and not below ground. But also there are some deeper things that people value when they look at those in detail. And I'm going to share with you today, aside from, of course, my family, my son Eli, I'm going to share with you one of the most important, perhaps the most important element of gratitude that is valuable to me. And what that encompasses is every year, every summer, and the reason why this comes to mind right now is because this is the time of year where I start to get excited every August, because I go back to Maine. Even when I was living in San Diego, you can't be further away from Maine than San Diego. I would fly to Boston, drive up to Maine every single year. And I'm not the only one that does that. I belong to an organization, I wouldn't say belong to, but I work with an organization called the West End House. And the West End House, for this 1 week in the summer, the West End House has boy clubs, girl clubs in Boston. They have a girls camp and they have a boys camp. And the boys camp is the genesis of this entire situation for me. They have a camp for 8 weeks during the summer, and after that, the final week of the summer is Oldtimers week. And this is when we would be going to camp for Oldtimers week. When I had my office in San Diego for many years, people in my office would always know that, Eli's dad, he goes away in August. Where does he go? He goes to camp. And people look at you and they say, you go to camp? What's camp? What is that all about? My friends, I have to tell you about this, and you'll understand why I value it so close to my heart and the hearts of so many other people that belong to this organization. And it is the world's greatest time machine. It's the greatest time machine of all. What happens here? Well, about 100 or so guys, maybe a little bit more, every year go from wherever they are, and some places in the world, but mostly in the United States. They go from wherever they are, and they go to Boston, then they go up to Maine to this boys camp. And everyone has a history, for the most part, of belonging to this boy camp. Virtually all of the people that go were at one time campers. Then they became counselors. And as a counselor, the last week of the summer is Oldtimers week, and so all the campers have gone home, and the senior counselors, who want to stay for an extra week up in Maine, which is, the camp is just so gorgeous, you want to stay there forever. They become the people that take care of the old-timers when we go up to Maine. And what does that entail? That entails making sure that we have plenty of ice for the various refreshments that we like to consume. They make the beds, they sweep the bunks, they clean, all of the cleaning. So when we go up there, it's like we have, sort of rural maid service with these kids. And we always tip the kids. It's a good week for them to go up there because people go up there and they'll tip the kids. So the kids walk away with a pretty fair amount of money as well. So it's good for them. But anyway, everybody has that kind of history. I myself, was doing that. Did that, made the beds, cleaned the thing. And then I got older and I became an old timer myself. And what's so great about being up there? First of all, it's you're turning back the hands of time. You go back and you see the same people. It's like the movie Valentine's Day, you know, the one with Bill Murray where he goes back and it's the same day over and over again. Well, we have the same week over and over and over again. And you see pretty much the same people every year, except, you know, some people get old and they pass away, and then new people come, you know. But every year it's you know, 100 people, and you're so glad to see the people. When you see them, you know, you haven't seen them for a whole year, and you go, "Hi, how are you? Good to see you." And if you don't even remember their names, you remember their face, and it's just a tremendous brotherhood. And what happens is, you know, people from the same era, the same age group, people from my age group, we hang around together, but we also hang around with kids that were my campers, all right? People that I had when I was a counselor that, you know, were like 9 years old, 10 years old, are now very successful business people. And you see them, you joke about them, and people tell the same stories over and over and over again. And you say, "Boy, what's so great about that?" It's great. You go back and it's all positive. People, for the most part, don't have the quote-unquote burden of their cell phones with them. Yeah, occasionally people go, they call home, say hello to the spouses, the kids, that type of thing. But for the most part, it's, you know, there's virtually no TV, there's no phones. It's we're up there and we go to the lake and we sit on this, you know, this beautiful lake with a dock, and we sit there and jump in the lake, and people fish, and there's conversation and joking, and people just all the time busting balls, okay, is really the only way to say it, in a positive way. Not only that, but virtually, 75-80% of the people up there have been up there have nicknames, but the nickname that they have is the one that they had when they were a kid. So when I go up there, I'm known as Pistol. So for 6 or 7 days out of the year, it's like, "Hey, Pistol! Hey, Pistol!" Not only that, but I'll also answer to the shortened version. "Hey, Piss, come here, let me talk to you for a minute," all right? During the year, I don't really answer to when somebody calls me that. There's even one guy up there, and the nicknames are, you know, ridiculous, okay? There's one guy up there, pardon my French on this, who's known as Shitty, all right? That's his nickname, but it's said with love. He takes no offense, and people see him, "Hey, the shit man, how you doing?" All right? So it's sort of a love fest in terms of people getting together, and even when we, you know, they have it's in a very rural place, and there's a town there, a couple of towns there, and for some reason that I don't understand, they have some of the best restaurants serving a relatively small population. I mean, one restaurant would be like a 4 or 5 star restaurant, and they don't charge 4 or 5 star prices. Another one is being Maine, of course, is called the Lobster Pound. Okay, so when people come, I sort of have a reputation of being a pretty good consumer in that particular area. So people go, "Hey, Pistol, you going for the twins?" And what are the twins? The twins are twin lobsters, okay, that you get. You get twin lobsters, you get lobster stew with pieces of lobster that are bigger than this in the stew, and you get steamers, all right? For those of you that aren't from the Boston area, steamers are steamed clams. That's how it's correctly pronounced. You got to get some lobster and some steamers. That's what you do when you go there. So it's like I said, it's a time machine where you go back and you see the same people and you're glad to see them, and you tell the stories, and you know, people update, you know, what are you doing, so on and so forth. As a matter of fact, a lot of times the opening line when somebody sees you, it's like, you know, I go up there virtually the minute that it's available. I'm one of the first people there, and people come up during the week, you know, and somebody will say, "So, when'd you come up?" All right? And that's kind of a meaningless question, but it gets the conversation started and people go from there. So, and then and the loyalty that the people have at the end of the week, they have like a big gathering in the council ring. Okay, now keep in mind this is a camp, so there's like a place with benches and everybody sits there and they tell jokes and make comments, and then they have a fundraising activity that every year gets significant donations, and people show their loyalty. And the thing that's great about it is, you know, just like in any community, there are some people that, you know, have a lot of money and other people that don't have so much money, and everybody's equal, everybody contributes, and it's not dependent upon the size of your donation. That's not a factor. And not only that, but the camp does so well that what they do is they give scholarships to kids in the Boston area that no way in heck could afford going to this camp during the summer. And so the community is getting wider and wider, and some of the old timers are some of the kids that were given scholarships way back when. So it's just an incredible experience to go up there, and we look forward to it every single year. One of the things, you know, I have one buddy that, like, he starts sending me texts in like January. Did you buy your tickets yet? I mean, it's like not happening till August. You get your tickets yet? All right, when are we going to meet? He and I drive up together. We meet at the airport in Boston, rent a car, drive up there every single year. And this year, of course, because of the pandemic, the camp was canceled. So we don't have it this year. So I'm bringing this up because this is the time of year where I'm thinking about the camp, And not only am I thinking about it, but everybody is. How do I know that? Because when you go on Facebook, you're seeing people that are sending in pictures that they took during previous years. You know, 10 years, you know you're a West End houser and they're sending pictures of the camp, of the people, so on and so forth. And it's so good to see them, even though we're not going to get to go up there this year. You know, it's just an unbelievable brotherhood of people. It's just an unbelievable brotherhood of people. And like many organizations, we have a song, all right? And the song is the spirit of it ends, the spirit of the house will never die. Now, this is an organization that started, I don't know, I believe like 1906 or something like that. And the camp started with tents, and now we have, you know, cabins. Now there's a girls' camp, and it's expanding. And as people, you know, do better in life, they make donations. You know, the camp has all of the modern facilities. And what's incredible about it is that the grandfather sends the father, who sends the son. And one of the biggest moments for me, one of the greatest things for me as a dad, as Eli's dad, Eli, I'm talking to you, was to send you to this camp so you could experience it. Not so much necessarily for the facilities, although I know that's a great thing to have, but because you can become part of something, part of a brotherhood that is just absolutely tremendous and valuable. And even though, and when you get to Old Timers Week, there are some people, in my case, I don't live anywhere near Boston, which is where a lot of the people come, you know, stay. But you see the people, you only see them once a year. The only place you see them is a camp. And it's like you pick up, it's like you saw them yesterday and you pick up the conversation immediately. Would you like to have something like that? Are you grateful for something in your life? I'm sure there are things in your life, it may not necessarily be that brotherhood, but there's something, I'm sure, in your life that you're grateful for. So focus when you're doing your quiet thinking time. Always devote some time to have a gratitude section, things that you're grateful for, and visualize different things, different days in significant detail so that you can really feel you can really feel the gratitude. And that sends the vibe out into the universe. And I'm not just saying it for that, I'm also saying it because it gives you a positive mental attitude. That's chunking down a positive mental attitude into its smallest components, having something to be grateful for. And because we will never end a meeting on a philosophical note, I appreciate you staying with me while I selfishly go over this love of my life. Let's get out there and charge! I'm Eli's dad.